Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the US MJ space. So this past week was notable for the Canadian MJ space. That really took our attention. We had individual names like VFF, Labs, and at the end of the week, APHA, which saw significant bullish moves. There's definitely some strength in the US MJ space, but if I had to say as an aggregate whole, Canadian MJ a little bit more bullish than US MJ just this past week. That being said, you look at a name like GWPH here, definitely some strength there as well, as we saw a move up of about 10% this week. And a lot of that has to do with the market strength, S&P 500 testing the all-time high. Biotech sector is in a really nice daily uptrend over the past couple of weeks. And GWPH is trying to benefit from that. We had a bear flag on the weekly time frame forming. And as soon as we saw this bull break over the top of the move of 123.13, and then the follow through on increasing bull volume, that pretty much was the bull saying, nope, not a bear flag at this point. We're definitely still looking for a weekly lower high to form. Anything under 151.35 is a weekly lower high, but the size of the bounce at this point is large enough that when we do top out, we will be looking for a weekly higher low to form for those bulls to try and change the longer term weekly trend. Keeping in mind that a name like GWPH traded on the NASDAQ is going to see more correlation with the biotech sector, with the S&P 500, than the majority of these names that are traded on the OTC exchange. IIPR, still flat daily inside bar on Friday. Bulls are just trying to put a stop to the bleeding at this point. What does stand out to me is this low straight into a bounce. So a new low into a bounce, another new low into a green day. So that shows me the bulls are starting to buy some of these dips. And that tells me to look on the 4-hour time frame and see, which I haven't done yet, but see if we can get a falling wedge here, which is the pattern that we saw on VFF right before a very significant bull move took place there. And if I were going to be drawing this, I don't really like the resistance line in this downward slope. I would say we've probably already broken out of it here just through time expiring. If I were going to draw this, it would be something along these lines. So I'm going to go ahead and say that is not the case right now. When you see a bull break of a falling wedge, you want to see a bull break and not just time taking us outside of the pattern. But it is something to keep an eye on. Again, bigger picture, we know we're looking for a monthly higher low to form. We pulled back in a huge way. Our last monthly higher low is 39.45. Didn't establish any support on the way up when we went from 40 to 120. We went over 200% with no monthly consolidation. Now we're seeing a bit extreme consolidation, and it's worth keeping an eye out for the bulls to shift momentum, in my opinion. First key resistance will be 75.17. Short-term support is 69.55, and the next level after that, 66.55. CuraLeaf, daily bear flag currently as we're grinding this 685 support. So again, there's a lot of USMJ names that are looking like their 2019 lows have been set. And that does not look like the case for CuraLeaf, as we are right now down at that low of consolidation. If 685 breaks, it's the lowest point of consolidation that we have seen. After 685, we're going to be looking down at 639 as the next level, and anything under 853 is just a daily lower high. The bears have control of CuraLeaf. The inability to change the daily trend on this move was certainly a red flag, and the weekly time frame unable to break resistance, also a red flag. So CuraLeaf bulls have a lot of proving to do, and as we go down this list, there's going to be names that are 50% above their 2019 low. Some names have daily trend changes. TRUL has a weekly trend change. So CuraLeaf bulls have a lot of proving to do. Shares becoming free trading and unlocking definitely some of the downward pressure. And we'll see if CuraLeaf bulls can regain themselves and refine their footing, because again, it is one of the sector leaders. And if we do drop to lower lows, that's going to be a bit of a dark cloud over the USMJ sector. CWeb, we have our low, high, sideways trading pretty much 5 days in a row. Trying to form that higher low, we have to hold 1560 and break 1958 to see a clear change in momentum. And the bulls are going to try and pull that off this coming week. Again, the daily 12-period exponential resistance, this red line, has rejected the price time and time again, pretty much 3 weeks in a row. TRUL, daily uptrend still intact. Our new higher low has been established. I'm still in a swing position for almost 2 weeks at this point. I will exit if 1287 breaks. It's just a very simple line in the sand level for me. Lose the daily uptrend. I no longer want a short-term position, and we would have to fail 1375 and break 1287. That would have us go from a daily higher low and higher high to a lower high and a lower low. In which case we would zoom out and look for a weekly higher low to form compared to 1040. But I personally don't want to sit through weekly consolidation, and I would rather lock in profit in my position. This guarantees if I exit if 1287 breaks, it guarantees that I have a profitable trade for my entry during the last period of sideways consolidation. IAN still hasn't really topped out yet, which is a good sign for the bulls. But again, this is one of those names where if we were going to see new lows in 2019, keeping in mind we only have 2 months of trading left, but what are the odds that we're going to drop 36% from here in 2 months? I don't think that's likely. So we don't have a clear daily trend change yet. These little higher lows are support levels, but they're not clear enough pivot points for me to see a daily higher low. And the best example I can give of that is you look at something like CGC, and CGC gave us a little brief consolidation into continuation. I don't call that a trend change. You want to see a trend change, APHA is a trend change. That is a clear pivot. Low, high, multiple days to find a higher low, and then continuation on increasing bull volume, getting over resistance. That is a textbook trend change. Otherwise, names like IAN, it's just not clear enough. We don't have enough of a pivot. 1 day of a pullback, not even breaking the low the previous day, is not enough. So that being said, we will still need a trend change. I'll need to see multiple days of consolidation to form a higher low whenever we do top out, and then continuation to say, yes, we are now in a daily uptrend. Otherwise, we are just watching our weekly lower high resistance all the way up at 360. Anything under 360 is a lower high. That's still over 50% from where we stand right now. So again, long-term time frame, a lot of these names have a lot of work to do. IAN definitely one of them. But the good news is the bulls are creating a lot of space where we can consolidate and still hold our recent low. CL bulls still trying to change their daily trend. We have the low, high, higher low is set, but the bulls have to break 889 to change this daily trend. Otherwise, we stay in the downtrend. So we've seen funds shift back. We saw funds shift from CL to OH, and the discount from OH dropped significantly as we reached our deal expiration. We then had the press release that added a lot of questions for people in terms of, wait, I thought we had a deal agreed upon. Are we going to see changes in the makeup of the deal? And that uncertainty saw a shift again with money leaving OH and going back to CL. So at this point in time, that discount on OH, if the previously mentioned conditions of the deal were met, and if that went through, we're looking at about 25-30% of a discount. And if the deal changes, then that discount might change as well in terms of the calculation to see what the share conversion would be. But the bottom line is, as long as there's significant discount on OH, in my opinion, that can be beneficial to short-term traders to take advantage of. Of course, number one, if we hear any news on progress towards the deal, that discount will shrink. And again, even if CL trades flat, that means OH will go up. Or otherwise, just seeing the space as a whole continue to develop, I still have my eyes on OH for that reason. As long as the deal is still a possibility, people will still be interested in that potential discount. And again, if we do get a press release saying that the deal is going forward, that discount will evaporate very quickly again. So OH is down grinding near its low. I am no longer in a position. If we break 492 and drop to a lower low, I may look for a daily oversold bounce play if we get there, but at this point, not interested and would only be making a play off of 492, but even then, not really a clear setup that I am looking to take part in just yet, but it is something that's on my radar to keep an eye on in case there is a setup where I do like the risk to reward setup of that trade. GTII is still in an equilibrium, but the bulls need more follow through to defend this support. We've got our 1134 support that held by a penny or broke by a penny, but I consider that holding. And now we're looking for our lower high compared to 1280. The further the bulls get, the better their odds in this big equilibrium overall. But if we don't make it back over 12, the odds that we drop to a lower low and break this support and head to our 2019 consolidation lows will increase significantly. So again, there's a number of bigger names here, bigger names relative to the sector, that are close to dropping to their lows again of 2019. And that is the last place that we want to be as bulls, of course. So remaining patient in this sector, no news on the SAFE Act front, and we will be watching closely for any kind of change in that. HARV was one of the weaker names. We did see some finally saw some bounce going. And again, these bounces are very worthwhile. If you can have a short-term mindset and be disciplined enough to lock in profit when you have it, I mean, this move, you look on this daily chart and you say, oh, that bounce didn't do anything. When in reality, if you zoom into that 6-day time span, that's a 42% bounce. If you capture a quarter of that move, you just made 10%. So there is opportunity. You just have to ensure that you are locking in profit when you have it trading against the trend. The bulls would have to hold 270 and break 386 to change the daily trend. If the bulls could pull that off, we would zoom out and look for a weekly lower high compared to 752. MedMen, big volume. Over 20% of that volume occurred in the first 10 minutes of the day and last 10 minutes of the day. So it is notable. I prefer to see volume climaxes at the bottoms, which indicate bounces getting going. Doesn't really instill confidence happening at the top of a bounce already taking place. And just by looking at percentages, it would make me a bit nervous that, maybe after a 30% bounce, someone's unloading again. But at least we're holding the hourly uptrend. Anything above 161 is an hourly high or low. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we will zoom out and look for a daily high or low to form compared to 131. Keeping in mind, we're coming off the all-time low. We're just looking for weekly lower highs on the vast majority of the sector. Bulls have a ton of proving to do. Again, a very worthwhile bounce, but can those moves be sustained? And can we see daily trend changes? That remains the question. And so far, the answer has been no. KSHB, 132 was key support. We broke it. Bulls bouncing here, but 183, anything under that is just a lower high. So 183 is the most important resistance. And if we can't break 183 and we have to pull back, that's when we have an inverse head and shoulders setup. With the left shoulder, that's a big left shoulder. With the left shoulder, this would be the head. And if we reject from the neckline of 183, we need a daily higher low to form. And then we need a break of those resistances to change the daily trend. So 183 is the key level in the short term as the bulls try and see a weekly bounce take place, in which case we are just looking for a weekly oversold bounce and a weekly lower high to be set. CVSI, daily trend change, you could call that one with a higher low and higher high. 271 is key resistance from here. The weekly chart, exponential resistance will be on watch after we have rejected the last 4 attempts to get over that level. And bulls will definitely get our attention if we break 271. That'll be the highest price we've seen in over a month. NBEV, we're just going to be looking for a lower high on NBEV. Resistance is 276, but anything under 359, 346, 339, 359, anything under that range, bulls aren't proving anything to us. So we had that big spike with no follow through. That's going to lose a lot of confidence in the bulls. Bulls got burned and they put their faith. It's the kind of thing where psychologically speaking, if you abuse the trust of the bulls, it's going to be hard to get it back. And I would call that 3-day time span right here abusing the trust of the bulls as far as what the price action can do. PYX also trying to change the daily trend. Low, high, higher, low. Have to break 1349 for a clear bull break. And we're within striking distance of that level. If we break 1349, we zoom out and we look for a weekly lower high compared to 1690. And last, we'll wrap it up with ZYNE. We do have a daily trend change already underway. It's not very confidence building. We have to change the weekly trend. Anything under 1243 is just a lower high. So bulls would have to top out, hold 683, and change that weekly trend. Pretty much the whole sector, Canadian and US MJ, all needs weekly trend changes. That's not happening anytime soon. US MJ sector, again, can we see another leg down? Absolutely, you bet we can. And we have to prepare ourselves for that because right now, aside from, again, a couple setups that are looking much better than others like TRUL, there's a lot of names that can roll over to lower lows. Just off the top of my head, CuraLeaf If GTII gets a bear break, it can as well. HARV certainly can. So we are by no means in the clear. A little bit of relief in the Canadian MJ space last week. US MJ definitely still has a lot of work to do, and Canadian MJ will take that attention as long as we don't have a US catalyst, because again, people like me will much rather trade CGC, APHA, and names with volume versus these OTC names. The only thing that's going to make me go aggressive on these OTC names are catalyst, and the only short-term catalyst that is approaching is any potential SAFE Act vote, which again, I am still viewing as less than likely at this point. So hope you have a good weekend. Stay protective out there, and we'll keep an eye on any momentum shifts. But as of right now, not seeing a whole lot to get us interested in the sector as bulls. Some nice setups, some nice clear setups. GTII, nice clear equilibrium that we're waiting on. And CuraLeaf key support test still in play. Uptrend on TRUL certainly has our attention. And we'll see you soon. Have a good rest of your weekend.